Hi there, it's Paige here from theimpactcopywriter.com. Welcome to another episode of Sales Page Persuasion, where we review sales pages with the goal of optimizing them for more conversions and more sales. Today, we're going to have a look at Mindvalley's 6-phase meditation quest, which is a landing page promoting a free 7-day meditation course. I don't know a lot about the foundation of this page, so I've had to make a lot of assumptions based on the copy that's already on the page. So I'm assuming that this is being promoted to people who do have an interest in learning meditation, at least a minor interest, but don't know a whole lot about it. So I would say their stage of awareness is solution aware, but on the low end, right? So they're somewhere in that high pain aware, low solution awareness. And they're beginners. So we're going to talk to them like they are just learning about meditation, because they are. So we're going to talk to them at the beginner level of sophistication. And we really don't know anything about how people are getting to this page or where it sits in the funnel. So this is an evergreen landing page. So I'm just going to keep that in mind as I review. Now, the focus of this specific video is headlines and crossheads. And that's because most people scan and then go back and read. So your headlines have to work harder to get people interested in stopping and taking a closer look. So they just don't scan and exit. The problem is that most sales pages and landing pages, they use lazy placeholder type headlines that don't really do anything for you. They don't do any hard lifting. They're just kind of, here's how it works. Here's what you get. They don't grab you and pull you into the page. So we're going to focus on boosting our persuasion factor by optimizing our page's prime real estate, which is headlines and crossheads. All right, I want to give you a brief glimpse at what the Mindvalley landing page looks like, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like when we're going through the copy. Now, as you know, if you've watched an episode like this before, that I usually optimize copy in a document so that I'm not seduced by a nice looking page, by nice looking visuals, because it's easy to focus on the visuals because we're visual creatures and overlook what the copy is really saying. So that's why I always pull out the copy into a document so that I can focus just on the messages. So that's what our page looks like. And I'm going to hop on over here to our copy notes. All right. Now remember, for the purpose of this review, we are focusing mainly on headlines and crossheads, and I've also included subheads and CTAs here, with a goal of making them work harder so that we get people interested in reading the page. So let's start with this headline here. So headlines are really important because they're the first thing that a visitor sees when they land on the page. You want it to be so juicy, your visitor stops and is like, hey, I need to find out about this, right? So here, instead of 6-phase meditation quest, which is just very informative, it's just the name of the offer here, I would use a headline that makes them just stop in their tracks. So something that maybe inspires curiosity, considering that it's about meditation and transformation. So something that inspires possibility. So I brainstormed something like, what if you could transform your life in as little as 15 minutes a day? So as we go through the page, you'll find out that the point of this is learning to meditate in just a few minutes a day, and that meditation can actually transform your life. So we're actually taking that value proposition and framing it in a way that inspires curiosity. What if you could transform your life in as little as 15 minutes a day? Now, I will say here, because I don't know a lot about who the actual target customer is, and it's probably pretty broad because it's an evergreen page, life could be even more specific here. So instead of life, like life is a huge spectrum of things. You could do specific landing pages that are about finances. What if you could transform your finances? What if you could transform your relationships? What if you could transform your career? So we could get more specific with that. So I would recommend doing VOC research, like interviews or surveys to people who've taken this course already, and look for those common threads. Like, what are people hoping to achieve? Like, what's the biggest majority? What are they hoping to transform? In what way are they hoping to transform with meditation? Now, for our subhead here, since we didn't mention the meditation in the before proposed headline, the new headline, I've just said something a little bit more to expand a little bit more. So we've kind of just meditate in a few minutes a day. That's kind of something we've already hinted at in the headline. So I don't want to repeat myself, right? So instead, I propose something like, in this free 7-day meditation training, you'll learn how to use a simple 15-minute meditation practice to X, X, and even X. The X's are meant to be outcomes or goals that people have that you found from your VOC research. Like I said, if it's to transform their finances or improve their career or get a new job or whatever that is, be leaner, whatever that is, we want to use specific examples here because transform your life is just still really vague and we want to make it more concrete and more tangible in everyday life. So we want to use specific examples. And you'll notice this one altogether is more specific. So we're not just saying meditation, we're saying a simple 15-minute meditation practice. So we're really reinforcing that just a few minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. It's not going to take long. It's simple because people don't typically want complicated things, and that they're going to use a meditation practice to X. Now for our button here, I brainstormed some a bit more descriptive buttons. So there are case studies that show that when your button is aligned with your headline, that they tend to perform better. So we want to look at our headline here, which was proposed with you can transform your life in this little 15 minutes a day. And then we want to mirror that kind of message on the button. So show me how to transform my life with meditation. I want to transform my life, or take me to the free course. Now, take me to the free course isn't aligned. But that's very clear on what happens next instead of just get free access. So take me to the free course, which is literally what happens when you enter your information and click the button. Now, moving on down the page, I've highlighted this because I've kind of pulled the message here and reshaped it and used it as a headline. So this is talking about practicing one thing every day that would create the most radical transformation in your life. So we've kind of pulled that message up here. So again, we don't want to be repetitive, saying the same old thing. So what I do here, because your target customer, or what we're assuming who our one reader is, we're assuming that they're interested in meditation, but they don't know a lot about it. So what I would do here, if that's true, is I would focus on creating belief in the power of meditation. So before we're even introducing more details about the quest itself, just, step back and show them why meditation works, overcome any objections that you found about meditation itself as a solution in your VOC research. So things like, you might hear things like, oh, this is just like a woo-woo kind of thing. It doesn't really work, or there's no science behind it. So that's something that I would do here, is I would just give a simple explanation for how meditation works. And then, keeping in mind that these are beginners. So we don't need something super heavy and scientific, but we need a simple explanation for how it works. Maybe they don't even understand what meditation is, like what it really is. Maybe they have this kind of skewed understanding of what it is. Maybe they think they're going to be doing alms and monk mantras and stuff like that. So that's something that we need to get out of the way before they're going to really be like, oh yeah, I really want to take this course, right? Even if it's free. So a headline, so we're going to focus on the headline, but that's just a strategic point about what we would go into. So a headline could be something like, this isn't just woo, meditation is a transformation technique backed by science. Now that was a message that was further down the page, and it felt like it was right. We could even use this headline and moved it up, designed for transformation backed by science, or something like tap into the simple transformation technique that's backed by science. So I thought it was a really important point that it's backed by science. And then it's not just like hearsay, maybe it works, these people are crazy, it doesn't really work kind of thing. So we want to show that it's actually backed by science, if that is a hesitation or an objection that comes up in your VOC research. So just some ideas for that headline here. And then once you're transitioning into talking about the quest itself, we actually had something buried in the body copy that could be a potential powerful headline. So when we're talking about the quest itself, we could say something like, we've distilled hundreds of the world's most powerful meditation techniques to give you a remarkable transformation in minimal time. So this ties into our kind of big idea about transforming your life in 15 minutes a day. So minimal time and remarkable transformation. And it just gives a snapshot into how powerful or how comprehensive like the research behind this quest was. So if they've distilled hundreds of the world's most powerful meditation techniques to give you a remarkable transformation in minimal time, and this is free, that's incredible, right? So I have made some modifications here. So we want to, of course, check with the person who was leading this, who was putting out this resource, and make sure that they are correct. We don't want to make false claims. So the first version was hundreds of the world's most powerful personal growth books, which feels a bit misaligned. Now, I understand that often you'll find meditation techniques in personal growth books, but the messaging feels a bit misaligned because we're not talking about personal growth itself, even though meditation fits into that category. We're talking about meditation. So I have modified the copy to say hundreds of the world's most powerful meditation techniques. So that could be true. If, every personal growth book had a meditation technique, then you have effectively distilled hundreds of techniques into what works the best. So I've included 2 here because on sales pages, a lot of times we'll have a bit longer headlines because they span like 80%. They can span 80% of the page, and they're centered and whatnot. But sometimes you'll find that even though it's an amazing headline, it's too long. So I've tried to brainstorm something a bit shorter that would work on a landing page or even on a home page, where a lot of times you'll find a little bit shorter headlines just because of the way the layout and stuff works out. So that's why we've got the experience a remarkable transformation in the next 7 days down here. All right. So a good example of a placeholder headline, what you'll get. It's got a little bit extra on it, but it's very simple. It's not doing anything for them. So I'm actually going to propose that we combine, this we've distilled and this into the same section, because we're really just talking about the course, right? So we don't need 2 sections for that. So if we had, let's say the headline option B here, experience a remarkable transformation in the next 7 days, then we could embed this in kind of like a subhead or body copy right underneath that says, when you sign up for this free course, you'll get 7 days of meditation training, averaging 7 minutes in length, or whatever it is. I just made that up there. Or 15 minutes in length. That would be in line with what we're saying above. Plus, get started prep materials and guided audio tracks for each of the 6 phases. So that's just kind of an overview of what they'll get. And then below, we'll actually get into what you cover in each day. So that's something that I would combine. So I would either move this up. Actually, yes, I would move this up. The course outline, so they understand like what's included before we get into like the proof factors. So the buzz elements, or the testimonials, which is what that means, and other proof factors. So that's what I would do there. And then because I've included all of that in this body copy here, you'll get 7 days of meditation, get started prep materials, audio tracks. I've included that here. I would just cut that. This feels a little bit like unnecessary. We need to say it's a 7-day course, and they're going to get that get started training, which is what the warm-up training is here. And they're going to get that audio, but this is not really that important. So what's more important is what is covered in each day. So I would take this out and embed it here in the body copy, and then move the days up to be like in the what you get section. But we're not going to say what you get, right? We're going to say something with more pizzazz. Now let's move back to this section. And we talked a little bit about me using this backed by science message higher up in the page, or this, I brainstorm another version of this, tap into the simple transformation technique that's backed by science. This could go further up the page before we even introduce the course. Really the point of this section is we're talking about Vishen, who is the founder of Mind Valley and the kind of, I'm assuming going to be the guide in this course. You're going to be doing or learning things that he has practiced, that he has developed, that he has studied on his journey, his meditational journey. So it's really about him. It's about who you're learning from. That's the point. Like, so what? So, always ask yourself, so what? Why? Why is this important? Because you want to dig to the root of what you're trying to say and why it's important to who you're speaking to your one reader. So we take this out, we've used it somewhere else. and make this about him as their guides. Learn from Vishen Lakhiani, computer engineer turned CEO of Mindvalley, and 15-year meditator. So this is just a simple way. We're leading with a verb here because that's a good practice to do if you're not an experienced copywriter, you don't know how to break the rules. So follow the rules. Lead with verbs, at least in your first drafts, and then you can, work on some headline formulas to polish up your headlines and try different things. But always, it's a good practice to lead with a verb. So this is who you're learning from, and then we're gonna, kind of fascinate him. So computer engineer turned CEO of Mindvalley. That gives him some interest, some intrigue, and we're showing that he's experienced. So 15-year meditator, or how long meditator that he is. So that's an option, right? And we could really push this. We could brainstorm, 10 more types of, meet your trainer kind of headlines to get to the core of what we're trying to say here. And of course, we'll always want to go back, even with our headlines, and reference our voice of customer data. So, snippets that you're getting from surveys, from, for example, interviews. If people are talking about how it's important that they're learning from Vishen himself, you want to pay attention to that, because that could be potential, language that you can use in your headlines and in your body copy. So throughout the page. So make sure you're paying attention to that as well. Okay. So to get free access, follow these 2 steps below. This is just our first CTA. After we've kind of introduced the product in the instructor. And, I could brainstorm some different ways to say this because it doesn't have a lot of pizzazz. It is clear. It's mostly clear. I did highlight 2 steps because it's, on the landing page, you can see here, it's not clear if it's 2 steps. To me, this is 1 step, entering your information and clicking the button. This is like 1 step. So it just depends. For me, 2 steps was just a little bit, made me pause and be like, where's the second step? So there may be some step after that, but it's not clear what the second step is. So it's just saying sign up below to get started. So I would just take out that 2 steps. It's just a little bit confusing. So back to rewriting our headline here, we could do something also very clear. Join the self-paced 6-phase meditation quest for free today. So it being free, if they're really interested in learning meditation by now, they should be. We want to make sure that we're calling that out because it's important that it's free. It's probably a lead magnet of some sort. And we're leading with that verb, which we do have a verb here, but it's kind of buried. So join the self-paced 6-phase meditation quest for free today, which is just really, really clear. And then, of course, we would get rid of this subhead because we don't want to say the same thing twice in a row. And again, we could brainstorm some different CTA options for the button that's in line with the headline or the crosshead here in this case. So like send me the free course, for example, take me to the free course. So we're talking about, or the quest, since that's really what we're messaging here. So send me the free quest, take me to the free quest. We want to match those messages. Now moving on to our testimonial section, which right now says the buzz on the 6-phase meditation quest. So buzz feels a little bit clever, and we always want to avoid cleverness if cleverness isn't clear. So if it's clear and clever, then fine, clever is okay. But if you have a choice, be clear, not clever. So this doesn't really tell me a lot. So buzz, okay, I can kind of imagine what that is, but it doesn't grab me and stop me in my tracks, right? So I actually found a message further below towards the end of the page, which was great social proof. Let's see if I can find it here. Here it was, where you'll be joining tens of thousands of students from all over the world. So tens of thousands of students, that's a lot of people. So what I would propose is adding some kind of social proof headline to the testimonial section. And you want exact numbers, or to get as close as possible. So I just made one up because I don't have access to their stats. So 31,670 students have already started their journey of transformation with the 6-phase meditation quest. Okay, that's huge social proof, right? Here's what they're saying. So basically we're saying something very similar to what they're talking about here. So people are saying great things about this. That's basically what we're We're saying, so you can trust it. They're saying great things. You're probably going to have a great experience. You can trust it. You should take this quest. That's the core of what we're saying, but we're going to add in more specificity and that really strong social proof that, hey, look at all these other people doing this. Like, you should probably do this too. And we're tapping into like what their desire is. So with the journey of transformation. So we're not just saying that 31,000 students have already started taking this course because they don't really want to take a course, right? Taking a course, that's just a means to an end. What they want is this transformation. So we're tapping back into that, reminding them that that's what they want. And then we're just name dropping again, the 6-phase meditation quest. So if this was too long, we could snip it right here and stop it with journey of transformation. But I will mention that one thing I love to do is like go through the testimonials looking for headlines. So you could easily take this, one of the most powerful meditations I have ever practiced, and use it as a headline somewhere. So that is a great source for headline inspiration, is the testimonials, the interview scripts of your customers. Now, in this testimonial, the headline for it reads, "The 6-phase meditation has been transformative for me." But that, to me, didn't seem like the most powerful snippet. So if we read the whole testimonial, "The 6-phase meditation has been transformative for me. With each day, I have found greater focus, ease of soul, and alignment with my true self." So this is more specific, and I would think this would make a better headline option, which is just a small change. But it is more specific and gives better insight into the outcomes that people experience. So, transformative for me is still kind of vague. But finding greater focus, ease of soul, and alignment with my true self is much more specific. Now I want to talk about this kind of, it's a proof section. So the 6-phase meditation's growing popularity. And it's just some facts or some snippets of information that's supposed to give this meditation program more credibility, to show that it's catching popularity. For me, the most powerful thing inside this section, and most of this, I feel like I would cut, because it's not very specific to the meditation itself. So for here, it's just saying that it was first revealed in Vishen's book, and the book was a bestseller. So this is really more about the book. So it doesn't feel like it gives strong proof to the meditation. It kind of feels like we're scraping for credibility factors, when we could just be focusing on better testimonials and case studies and stuff like that, which would carry a lot more weight than these, in my opinion. So 1 million views and counting. So this is about a video where Vishen presented the 6-phase meditation, and it's been viewed over 1 million times. Okay, so that one's more relevant than the first one. But for me, the most powerful stuff in this section, which I would consider pulling out and turning into like mini case studies on the page, were about the last two here. So the artist Miguel recently shared with Billboard magazine that he has been using a 6-phase meditation to connect with his fans before each show. So that's cool that this famous recording artist is actually using this before his shows to connect with his fans. And then in the next one, we have that the 6-phase meditation has been taught to NFL legend Tony Gonzalez, and it's being used by other NFL, NBA, and MLB athletes to like boost their performance. So we could turn these into mini case studies. So if I was going to turn these into case studies, mini case studies on this page, I might do something like this. With a headline, "Just how powerful is the 6-phase meditation quest? This powerful." And then we could talk about the ways people are using it and give it real context, to make it tangible, to make it concrete in daily life. So we could say recording artist Miguel uses it to connect with his fans before each show. NFL legend Tony Gonzalez uses it to tap into peak performance before every game. And then we'll want to showcase a few other people, from students who've gone through this before. And I added a note here that I would recommend showcasing, regular people too. So it doesn't feel like it's out of reach. Most people looking at this are just going to be regular, run-of-the-mill people. They're not going to be famous, or whatnot, to the extent that these people are famous. So, it's good to have that kind of authority, influence, or proof, but you also want to make sure that when people are reading your page, regular people, the people you're trying to sell this to or get to sign up for this, that they're going to be like, oh, I can do it too. Like there's proof that people just like me can use this too with success. So that's just a note there. Now we've talked about this section already, that I would recommend that it's boosted up above the proof factors, that we just embed it with that new headline that I proposed, which was experience a remarkable transformation in the next 7 days. And then we include also the course outline up there. So we'd get rid of this, we'd get rid of that one, and then we'd embed those together and we'd move all these getting started through day 7, further up the page where we're in, product awareness before we get into all the proof and why elements. But I did brainstorm some other potential headline options that we could use for that section, which was something like what's included in the 7-day training that will transform your life. Take 7 days to learn the skill that's going to transform your life. So just giving that a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more specificity. And then with each day, right now, there's no so what element to this. It's just like, okay, we're going to do a meditation on compassion, on gratitude, on forgiveness, on envisioning the future. But, if I'm the one reader, I don't know a lot about meditation. I don't know why it's important to practice compassion. I may not even be really, at this point, interested in practicing compassion. So I would rework the day 1, day 2, like the crossheads here to focus on the why, the outcome, the benefit. So tease the info without giving all the goodness away. So for example, if we're doing one on compassion or gratitude, for example, we might say, raise your vibration and attract the things you want by practicing gratitude. That could be something we could say. I would also question if vibration, if that's part of this one reader's vocabulary. It's probably not. So I'm not I wouldn't say I was a meditation beginner, not by far, not advanced either. But so I would have this raise your vibration in my vocabulary, but the one reader for this page might not. So we want to run that against one reader research. I don't have that. So we're just kind of throwing ideas around. But you see my point here. I've led with a verb. I've tried to paint the picture of why we're going to practice gratitude in this meditation, because it's going to raise our vibration and it's going to let us attract the things that we want in our life, the good things that we want. Another example is for day 5, your perfect day. We could do something like manifest your perfect day by visualizing it in ultra detail. That might be the point of this meditation. So I hope you understand my meaning here is that we want to take all of these and give them meaning to this person who doesn't know a lot about meditation. Why are each of these meditations important to do? So that's what I'm trying to get at here. And again, I would question if manifest was part of, the one reader's vocabulary. If they're beginners and they're just now learning about meditation, manifest may not be a word they use. That may be, a word they learn in this course that they develop a new vocabulary as they become more advanced meditators. But that's something we'd want to, run against our VOC data. Now moving on to our bonus section. So this is about, if they join this free course, then they'll get kind of the monthly newsletter. So we've positioned it as a bonus, or it's positioned on the page as a bonus. But we could, rework it a little bit, bonus, exclamation point. You'll also get access to free original meditations, articles, videos, and masterclasses to fuel your transformation every month. So here we've changed a little bit original content. That's a word I use as a marketer, but I question if content is a word that most other groups, if they're not in the marketing space, or the publishing kind of space, then, I question that if that's a word that we should use here, that we should just say what the content is, So that's why here I've said, they're getting original meditations, articles, videos. We even say how-to articles, videos, and master classes. So that's more about what the content is. So that it's clearer if, they're not marketers and they, don't have content is not like a word that they just use every day like I do. I've also taken out hosted by Vishen Lakiani. At this point, we've introduced Vishen, but it's unclear whether or not they know who he is and that that's going to be a big selling feature for them. It will at some point, right? When they get to know him, when they go through this course, like stuff he puts out, it's going to be a strong selling feature that he's putting it out, right? Because he has a really strong brand in this space. But again, we have to look at who our one reader is. Do they already know who Vishen is? Do they respect him already? That's something we have to look at our VOC data and make decisions about. So I'm assuming that they don't, because this is a free course. This is probably like an entry into the Mind Valley world where they're learning about meditation for free, and that they're going to be like upsold into paid programs later on. That's what I'm assuming at this point. So that's why, again, I have reminded them of what their goal is, their transformation. Again, we could be way more specific with this, but for the sake of this page, we're just going to say to fuel your transformation, and every month that they're going to get this, on repeat. So this is just a really compelling way to say you're going to get a monthly newsletter. So if you're saying you're going to get a monthly newsletter in any sales page, landing page, whatever, there's a better way to say it, because no one really wants a newsletter. They want what's in the newsletter. So that's just a side note there for your marketing. Now for our final CTA, at the end of the page, I always like to tap into that better tomorrow. So instead of just being super, tactical and say, last chance to join this free course or whatnot, remember to remind them about why they're even here, because they made it this far. So really trying to close here. And, a good way to close is to, paint a picture of that better tomorrow. And even you could contrast the better tomorrow versus the status quo. Like, what is the risk of doing nothing, of saying no, of just passing on this opportunity? Like, you could think about what they're going through right now. That's going to continue unless they take steps to transform their life, right? So we could just do something really simple. Your transformation awaits. Spend the next 7 days becoming who you were meant to be. This is about transformation. It's about connecting with their ideal self, that's what they want. We could get more specific with that if we knew more about our one reader. If it was about relationships, then we could, talk specifically about a specific relationship that they want to improve, and what the cost of doing nothing is so that relationship continues to suffer or get worse, right? So that's just, something you can use to brainstorm copy ideas for this, this last CTA towards the bottom of the page. And of course, you're not just brainstorming out of thin air, right? You're going back to your VOC data and you're saying, what do my customers want? What are they saying that, what are they suffering from? Then you can start thinking what's the cost if they just keep doing the same thing tomorrow as they're doing today? What's the cost of status quo, as I like to say? So go back to your VOC data and then use that as inspiration to really paint a picture of the status quo versus better tomorrow on the page. So for a subhead, or, smaller or leading body copy here below, we could say, so we've said your transformation awaits, spend the next 7 days becoming who you were meant to be. Then underneath, then we connect to that tactical stuff. Join the 6-phase meditation quest for free today and start transforming your life in as little as 15 minutes each morning, each afternoon, a day, whatever that's going to be. So we're leading with transformation, with that deeper why, that deeper driver, emotional driver, and then we're being tactical. So okay, you want to spend the next 7 days becoming who you were meant to be, then you need to join the 6-phase meditation quest for free today. So we've got transformation and tactical. So we've already covered here that this was huge social proof, so I won't go over that again. And then one final thing was at the bottom. We had this kind of Facebook comment section. Have you tried the 6-phase meditation quest or experienced Vishen's work? Share your comments below. I've not seen any case studies where this is beneficial to your page, right? You could do it to collect feedback, but you can also do this. So 6-phase meditation quest or experience Vishen's works. It just feels distracting, right? Distracting from the goal. So what if there's 2,100 comments here. What if they're just like, they're really into reading comments and then, they get lost in that and they never actually sign up? So what I would do is I would put some kind of feedback mechanism inside the course, because really for me, I'd want to collect that VOC data and I'd want to be able to use it on my page, my marketing, etc. But I want to only collect data from people who've actually experienced the course, because otherwise it's kind of misleading. You might get bad insights that way. I don't know. To me, this feels distracting. I would consider cutting it and just ending with that really strong better tomorrow / status quo comparison that we're going to do in our last CTA section. Today's video was brought to you by the Sales Page Persuasion Review, a conversion copywriting analysis of the foundation of your sales page. See how a professional conversion copywriter would optimize your sales page copy for more conversions and more sales. For more information, head on over to theimpactcopywriter.com /sales-page-review.